Alright guys, welcome back to the DIY how to make a bait trap today. Mullet trap, yabby trap, shrimp trap. But this one, this is the one I put up on my Facebook page the other day. If you want to head over to that, it is Hunts Fishing. Hunts Fishing Adventures New South Wales on Facebook. But the first things first is this will be, I'm going to try and turn this one into a mullet. A potty mullet trap for when we go over to the coast, coming up at the end of the year. Now, as you can see, it's a square and it's see-through, which you really want it see-through, so when the fish or the bait comes through the hole, they can see that there is food and stuff in the bottom. So we're going to get straight onto that, but keep your lid because it will come in handy later. But we're going to leave that there. We're not there's a few different ways you can do this, because generally with this one, a lot of people have done this one. This one's a bit more simple to do, but I'm going to do this square one just because you can see it's a lot different shaped around here. It's not your traditional square sides. This has got a few indents in the side, but these are going to become our little door flaps that we open. Right, if the wind doesn't blow everything away, and what you'll need is a hot glue gun, some good quality stretchy rope, a good Stanley knife, or if you don't have a Stanley knife, a bread knife is really good, just because it's serrated, and when you cut through the bottle, you can actually get a clean cut. I did try the other day. I did a practice one off camera, and I did use the Stanley knife, and it didn't go around there properly. I marked it with a texture and everything, and it still wandered. So this way should work better. But first things first, I'm not going to cut the end off like you would normally do. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use the Stanley knife and chop these little things out here and fold them up, so we're going to have a door on either side. All right, so let's get into that. So just a sharp Stanley knife, and you'll see that there are little lines around here, like almost two little, 1 and 2. But we are going to go with this one just because we don't want, if we do get the max size bait or potty mullet that come through there, we don't want them escaping. So all we're going to do is we are just going to, you'll see it's got a mark there to the top, so we're just going to go in here. Now these bottles are actually they're a lot tougher than they look, but once you get going around the outside, you're literally just following that line. If you can see it, I'll try and keep it as still as I can. And you'll see, just come in up here on the other side. And so we just made a little flap, but you'll see a tiny little flap like that. But that is to let a little bit of the water in, as like extra water. But that is too, so we can reach in when it's time, because this one is for the mullet, and you'll see you can either bend it in or bend it out. Just depends on which way you want to shake your bait out. But we're going to do that on either side, and you'll see there is nothing can get through there at all. That is literally just for air, like to let some water in. So we're going to repeat that on this side. Follow the same line. Be very careful not to cut yourself if you are using a very sharp Stanley knife. Now, I was lucky enough to get this one. Greg got me this one. Thanks once again, Greg. And it's very windy, guys, sorry. Try and keep you out of the wind noise as much as I can. But that's it. So we've done it again, exactly the same as the other one. And we're just going to bend it in just a little bit. Might have to go a little bit higher on the side. Now I know hundreds and thousands of people have done these DIY bait traps, but I haven't never done one for my channel, so and then what you can do is they'll eventually pop back out, or you can just get your little knife, pop them back out like this. And that one there is almost finished. It just depends on how much air holes you want to make, but the one that the wind blew away on me, which is over here, this one does require the hot glue gun. But this one here was just a very, very basic one, and there's not much more to do. I mean, you could pop a few extra holes in the bottom. A lot of people cut this part out and keep the lid on here and have the bigger bait go in, but then you risk them coming out unless you do it like you do on that one, which is what we're going to do next, which is a lot different, and I'll explain later why that this one for me didn't require much, because that you sit like, say that there is your sandy bottom. You've popped your breadcrumb or your dog biscuits, whatever you want in there. You've come to low tide, you've put it in, and the water, you know, the water's just over the top. So you gently there, so then all the bubbles are going to come out. That's going to fill with water, and to me that one there is nearly ready, just because I'm only wanting it for potty mullet. So that one was pretty basic. I mean, they don't have to be very flash for you to catch bait. But on the other hand, this one, this is the one that a lot of people use, and I tried, but it didn't work the way I wanted to, but we're going to do it properly today for you guys. So you want a sharp knife, and you'll see the little ring on the outside of the bottle. You just literally want to cut all the way around that. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky, especially if you want to get it right on, but we'll do our best here today. And you just literally follow that line. You can get a texter, you can mark it, whatever you want, but for today's video, this is just a DIY bait trap. You can catch yabbies, you can catch shrimp, prawns, you can even catch little fish, but that's why I've made the larger one. So we've nearly come right around to this one, trying to get this one as best I can. You literally, you'll see it only takes a couple of minutes to make one. All right, and we have come right around. Oops, GoPro fell. And you'll see that I've cut right around the outside. So now you have two halves. And this is where the glue gun comes in. So this, you will put that in there like this, like that. You got a hot glue gun it, of course. And this is mainly for shrimp or prawns or minnows, whatever you really feel like. But you'll see, because you've got this part in, the bait can go in, but they cannot get out because they're really not that clever. So all you're going to do is, you'll see where it sits. You'll see there's a tiny little bit of the bottle rim left over, which that's okay. You'll see that it didn't quite. So you're literally just going to run some hot glue around the inside, which we're going to do right now. And you're just going to run some hot glue. Careful not to burn yourself, because this stuff will take your skin off. Make sure you've got plenty, because you don't want it to come off if you really don't have to. And you're literally just going to grab this, the other end that I just said, and you might just have to give it a tiny push. A tiny push. It doesn't always work straight away, but don't forget you are dealing with very, very hot glue. And depending how hot it is, you'll see it might melt the bottle a little bit. Where it has melted there, and then you just give it a few minutes to set, which that's what it's doing now. Sometimes, and it really need fresh glue. I mean, this glue is rather old, but, and then there's not much more to that one because the bait will go in and they can't get out. But what you will need to do is you will need to put some breather holes, either in the along the side here, which you can generally do. Just depends if you've got a drill. We might just get the drill. All right, so we can do that. And it just depends how high, or if you want it to be fully submerged in water. I'm just going to pop a couple of holes in it here. You know what, even if that doesn't work, what you can do is, this is just a how-to, so you'll see it's a little bit rough there, it's a little bit softer. So what you can do is, you don't want to cut anything too hard or too much, because especially if you're after the smaller fish or the smaller bait. Look, it's probably not the best demonstration, but we're just going to do a few of these just around the outside, and that is literally just two for air holes and all that sort of business. So we're just going to go one more. Let a bit of the water in a little bit, but make sure you've got a very sharp knife. This one's gone a little bit blunt, a lot quicker than I would like it to, but anyway. So just a couple of breather holes. All right, so now we've got a couple of holes each side. Look, it doesn't have to be fancy, especially if you're just chucking it in the creek or the river. And then you just add your string, tow however you want. You can make sure you've got a good amount of that good stretchy rope. This is the stuff I use for my crab pots, and it's from BCF. You can buy shots of this for $1.50, $2.50, and like this is just 2 meters, and the other couple of meters is just here. So that one there probably didn't turn out the best just because of the glue didn't work, but I'll do another version of that later on if I can get it right. But this was the main one I wanted to do today, so you'll see. And a lot of people do cut this little part here out, but you will need maybe like a hole saw or something. But then a lot of people cut it off here as well. But this will be my bait trap for when we go to the coast at the end of the year to catch the potty mullet. And literally, you know, if they're sticking in too far, you just grab a stick or a knife, and then you literally just give them a little bit of a bend backwards, and never ever slip or cut yourself, and you'll see that they've popped back in. The mullet can get in and can't get out. So I hope that was useful, guys. Sorry it wasn't the best demonstration. The hot glue gun didn't work to the way I wanted it to, but then all you do is you can put string to this. You can just drill a tiny little hole, or you can either put some sinkers or some weights in the bottom, and you just put your weight in there, your sinkers, your rocks, put your bread in there, and then you can literally just pop him straight in the sand at the low tide. And you can breadcrumbs, dog biscuits, anything oily, really oily fish. If you, even for prawns as well, you can use this for a prawn trap. So I hope that helps. And if you watch the carp video that I did yesterday, there will be a part 2 to that one, and where I catch, I think I caught about 10 little baby carp, and there is a big one on another surprise. So don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, guys. Thank you very much, and I'll see you out there again.